This is the overview where we will discuss the background of the CalPAD submission. So we have this data collection and reporting requirements, and they're all dictated to us by legislation. And some of the more important legislation that requires Fall 1 data is our LCFF, right? The statewide funding mechanism in which we provide state funds to schools. The Every Student Succeeds Act, right? The national legislation for all schools, all K through 12 schools, and then the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. It ensures that all children get free and appropriate education. Here we have a summary of the CalPADS data collections. You can see we have a Fall 1 data collection that's actually in the fall. We have a Fall 2 data collection that's based on Fall 1 data or based on data that's as of Census Day, but typically the data is collected at the end of winter into the beginning of spring, and then the end of year data collection, which coincides with the end of every academic year. So we're going to focus on the Fall 1 on the far left, and you can see that we have student enrollment counts, dropout counts, identify LCFF eligible students, English language acquisition status, language instruction programs, Title III immigrant counts, students with disability counts, among other identifiable measures or metrics. So there's a lot of data collected in Fall 1, and we will detail that in the overview. And then here's a graphic of the data collection window. Everything is going to be reflective of Census Day, and you can see the Fall 1 submission and the Fall 2 submission overlap. So you can technically submit Fall 2 data now. That's courses and staff data as well as your student data for Fall 1. But what's important is to understand that the Fall 1 reporting period is shorter than the Fall 2. And so your focus should be on Fall 1. And we have the deadline and the final deadline in the amendment window, a window for correction. And then you have end of year. And so end of year will be in 2026. And like I said, it coincides with the end of your academic year. So um, if you're on your P's and Q's and you're squared away, those veterans will be submitting Fall 1 student data as well as the courses and staff data for the Fall 2 submission simultaneously. If you're new and you're just starting out, focusing on the Fall 1 data is just fine. But just understand that the submission window for both data collections is ongoing, and you could be submitting that data now. And so just to take a closer look at the key dates for Fall 1, Census Day is October 1st. That's the day that the reports and revisions are available to you all. We have a zero error date in November 21st. So we try to support LEAs, and we target November 21st for all LEAs to have no errors. This is approximately 2 or 3 weeks prior to the initial deadline. And it's important because November 21st is also before the Thanksgiving or the fall holiday. And so a lot of districts are out that entire week or at least 3 days. And so this is a good opportunity to be able to pass over your work, pass over the data submission to your data stewards and those subject matter experts so they can review the reports. It also gives them time to review the reports, provide you feedback, and then in the amendment window, make any changes. So the certification deadline is December 12th. Every LEA needs to be LEA approved by December 12th. This is important for several reasons, one of which is that your P1 counts will come from this. So this is an estimate for your LCFF funding. And also disproportionality data for students with disability is typically collected coinciding with the initial deadline or the CalPAD certification deadline. And then we have the amendment window. So after the certification deadline, there's a period of time before the final deadline, and that is the amendment deadline. And your data needs to be certified as CELPA approved by this January 23rd date. And then at the conclusion of Fall 1, we recommend you, the trainers here at CSIS, take a self-care day. Relax, go to the spa, eat some donuts and pizza, just cheat on your diets, get a massage if you can, right? The stress of Fall 1 goes away. If you're an elder states person like I am, you remember those Calgon commercials from your youth. Just let Calgon take you away. And to reiterate, for those of you who are new, Census Day is Wednesday, the first Wednesday in October. And so the significance of Census Day is all the reports, all the data collected for fall one are going to be reflective of Census Day. So you might certify in December, but we're not looking at December 11th, December 12th, right? We're looking at the counts as of October 1st, 2025. And so if you may have a fluctuation in your enrollment between October 1st and the day you certify, that won't matter because we're looking back to October 1st. So who was eligible for special education? Who was eligible for free or reduced price meals, who was in the GATE program, what was their English language acquisition status as identified on October 1st. And so the significance of October 1st is your business practices prior to actually collecting the data, registering and identifying students for special programs or the English language acquisition status, ensuring that every student with the IEP has it updated before October 1st is imperative so that the counts of these students can be accurate as of the 1st. Because if a student is TBD on Wednesday, October 1st, and EL as a result of their LPAC testing on October 2nd, you don't get LCFF funding for that student based on their English language acquisition status because on October 1st, they were to be determined. So that's just an example of the importance of Census Day. And we want to make sure that you guys understand that it's October 1st. The data does not need to be certified or even submitted by October 1st. However, when you do submit the data, when you do certify the reports, they will look back to October 1st. And then a summary of the data collected and reported for fall one. The LEA enrollment counts for all those students who are active on Census Day. The LEA enrollment count for specific subgroups represented in the statewide enrollment count. So, of the students that are active on Census Day, are they in special programs? Do they have demographic identifiers? Like, are they migrant students? Are they immigrant students? Those things are collected. LEA count of English language acquisition status. So not just English learners, but all the different English language acquisition status need to be identified for your K through 12 enrollment. Again, I mentioned the count of Title III eligible immigrants. Are they in a language acquisition program? There are other programs, we call them eligibility programs. The count of students that are in active special education programs. So for fall one, we're looking at those students that are eligible and participating in special education programs. The count of students who have been exited and count as dropouts from the prior academic year. And then the count of students identified as disadvantaged for the purposes of LCFF. The count of students identified as disadvantaged for LCFF purposes, and we'll describe what will include the student in these counts very shortly.